What's your if I get caught there's no explanation story? I was in a camp shower, stalls, not open, when an unaccompanied kid about 4 years old started crawling into my stall from below the door. I was telling him to scram, but he wasn't listening. It was only us in the showers at the time. I had no idea where his folks were. I scrambled to put my clothes on, still soaking wet, when it was clear this kid was bent on getting into my stall. I rinsed the soap out of my hair with my clothes on and then took the kid by the hand to find his parents. Had I been caught in the shower with a stranger's child, I'd have had a very difficult time explaining it. I found his mom, frantic, about 5 minutes later. I guess the kid was looking for his dad, who he heard was in the showers, and he thought I was him. Flew on a major airline with a razor blade hidden in my phone case. I was meaning to buy one to peel the window tint off of my car, but I found one at work in a drawer. I didn't have any way to safely carry it, so I put it in my phone case behind my phone. I about died when I was on the beach and realized what I had done. Threw it in the trash right away before I forgot again. When visiting a friend, went straight in to the wrong house. In their building people keep their doors open. Make myself a cup of tea, put on the TV, and wait on the sofa for them to return. Someone else comes in, says nothing, looks at me weird, and goes to the bedroom. Call up my friend to ask when they are coming. They are at their house. They come and pick me up. I was with friends at a local park late at night, like 2 or 3 AM. Parks close at 11 and a cop doing his drive-through check of the park found me and my 2 friends sitting in a picnic area, and we definitely were not supposed to be there. We had all gotten stoned and hatched a ridiculous plan to mess with our other friend. The cop approached us while we were laughing hysterically with a huge bag of potatoes in front of us while we drew sexually charged images on the potatoes with Sharpie markers. It was rough trying to explain to him that the penis potatoes were supposed to be a practical joke. We were going to leave them all over our friend's lawn. Somehow he was fine with that and told us to take our potatoes and go somewhere other than the park. I still remember that night fondly. My boss left his office door open one time. I was working late that night and went into his laptop to see if he had anything juicy. He did. He had a document with a title something like "What is wrong with 99th username?" It included a handy list of my character flaws. If I had gotten caught, there would have been absolutely no excuse. I was a strange child and I decided that I would hide in my neighbor's bush in a ghillie suit in the pouring rain. I just watched a couple of cars drive by and marveled at the fact that the bush kept most of the rain off my head. This reminds me of that old Reddit Tifu post about the guy who was having dinner at his wife's boss house and was served very rare beef. Instead of saying he didn't like his meat rare, he waited until the boss went to get something from the kitchen and chucked the steak out an open window so he could pretend he ate it. Only the window wasn't actually open, just very clean. So the steak slapped against it and fell on the floor, and his wife and the boss noticed. I was getting ready for a New Year's Eve party and decided I needed to shave, but I didn't have any aftershave or shaving cream, so I used a little bit of watered down vodka just to make sure everything was fresh. But I sort of gave off a vodka smell. Then I realized I needed to pick up drinks for the party, so I went to the liquor store, but I got kind of lost in a neighborhood because there were a lot of one-way streets and I kept repeatedly passing a police car hanging out at a corner. I realized how suspicious I would look driving around on nice smelling like vodka on my way to the liquor store. Luckily everything went fine and me and my friends partied in my basement and then Ubered to a bar. When I was a teenager, my buddy lived in one of those gated communities with security patrol cars at night. We loved sneaking around at night and hiding from them, ding dong ditching and death like that. Once we found one of those cars empty, so my ballsy friend went and opened it, and stole a radar gun. And there really wasn't a reason, just for the laws. I think he still has it. We didn't get caught though. Backstory, I once had such bad depression functioning as a person became hard. My mom stopped by, no knock like several of my close PPL then, brought groceries so I could try and eat better, surprise I don't want to cook. So I was hungry for a while. But she got me mangoes. Now I love mangoes but only at the correct ripeness so it's hit or miss. I sat down on the couch with one so sure it would be bad. It was so good. It was the first thing I had been happy surprised about in what seemed like forever. No way I could have explained. I ripped into that mango in the middle of my living room. And I mean ripped. I'm talking juice going all down my hands, down my face, huge bites. IDKY but at one point I crouched down and my cat was just sitting under me licking my hands as I ate. I must have looked savage and I am so happy no one walked in to check on me right then. That was a super low point and it woke me up a bit. But maybe that was just the mango. Edit. I honestly didn't think anyone would read this. Thank you for the awards, kind stranger, I have never gotten one before. And thank you everyone for your support and mango love. This woman I used to babysit for got picked up for drug trafficking. Must have been a big hit, because I'm visiting a friend next door to her place one day, and cops are hauling out pretty much everything she owns. Now, I liked babysitting for this woman. She paid me a truckload of money, and had all the best SNES games, Kirby's Superstar, Super Metroid, Chrono Trigger. And I'm watching these cops carry stuff out. And one has all her Super Nintendo games shoved in paper bag. I very nearly blurted out, "Hey, those are mine." I left them here while babysitting. I wanted to. But I realized I had nothing to back that up, and they would know I was basically trying to steal those games in a heartbeat. So I didn't do it. Because there would have been no explanation. Except maybe a shrug, a come on, man, Chrono Trigger, and the hope one of those cops was as big a gamer as I was. My notes app that includes argument defenses in scenarios I made up. I got razor burn on the back of my thigh. I have horrible eyesight so in order to see where the burns are I have to bring my face physically closer to the back of my thigh. Cut over to me, foot up behind my head as I rub lotion on the back of my thigh sitting in my office chair watching Lilo and Stitch. Stealing a truck and driving it home because the owner had agreed to sell it to me, but he was out of town and wanted me to move it before it got towed, but he had the keys and paperwork. It was a short drive, but nervous as hell in a very small cop-saturated town in a hot-wired truck. Oh, it was epic teenage stupidity. Girl invited me over to a small house party. I was the only guy, score. Comma, and there was drinking. New to me. So we all got hammered. Then someone came up with the idea of strip football. All I know is, I'm drunk as hell, all I got left on are my boxers, at least one of them girls was in full underwear, one was actually topless but jeans on. We were all freaking living it up in the backyard when her parents came home unexpectedly and I literally ran, grabbed my jeans that had my wallet in it and just ran for my life from there. Sacrificing my shoes and other clothes in the name of stupidity. I was a weird kid. I printed out erotic literature and hid it. I took it to the bathroom to read and my mom wanted to know what was taking me so long. I ended up ripping it up into tiny pieces over the next 10 minutes and flushing it. I had a SUV filled with ducks and a couple chickens in a graveyard around midnight. Me and the other guy happened to have knives on us, but that was not related. Got busted by the cops, who threatened to charge us for stealing city property for taking the fowl from a nearby park, but they let us go. We had been waiting there while an accomplice infiltrated the girls' dorm. The plan was to release them into the dorm. This is a wild one, it's going to need a lot of background but stay with me, it's worth it lol. I was around 7 or 8 years old, I remember my grandma used to watch a telenovela. It's a Spanish kind of TV show that is very long, like years, and incredibly dramatic, like people finding out they have an evil twin and lover discovering they are siblings, kind of dramatic, and I would listen to it while I was doing homework in the kitchen. The main plot of this narrative arc I remember was around this creepy dude that was in love with this woman that isn't interested at all in him, but also had a crazy girlfriend that knew about the whole ordeal and just wanted to see him happy, so she helps him in the conquering attempts in the hope he will realize how dedicated she is. One day he decides to kidnap this woman while she is about to leave for vacations, so that nobody will worry if she stops getting in contact. Him and the girlfriend lock her in a van and take her in his underground man cave. They tie her on a chair and leave her there. They bring her food and but he is just buying time to break her mind and convince her that if he can't have her nobody will, and she better just give up and love him, so that they can both be his wives. Both him and the girlfriend are torturing her, nothing too heavy. This was a show on TV at like 4 PM, so pretty PG, but still very creepy, like tickling her and putting ice in her shirt, feeding her in a humiliating way, from the floor or from his hands, etc. And it's like that. Now my 8-year-old brain didn't quite understand that she was suffering, and kind of took it as if they were playing a game. Or maybe I was into BDSM way earlier than I should have been. The TV show's name was Beautiful, and so my stupid goblin mind created the game of Beautiful. I would play it mostly with my cousin, F9. She was a year older than me but way more childish, so she had no idea where this game came from. One of us would sit in a chair and the other one would tie her up with jumping rope and pretend to torture the other. We would throw toys to each other, tickle each other, or she would push me to the ground and I had to get back up while being tied up. All of this while the torturee would plead for the other to free her and pretend to be scared and miserable. I know, dude, I was a sick child. I have no idea why I actually enjoyed this game. Anyway, one day I was the one tied to the chair, and my cousin was tickling me. The noise must have catched the attention of my aunt, my cousin's mother, and she opened the door. She found me, tied in a chair, my face all red and all sort of toys laying around like torture devices. I look at my cousin looks at me, and instinctively we try to make something up. We knew we were doing something wrong. We just didn't know what it was, but two different things came out of our mouths. I said we were playing tide races, going from one side of the room to the other while tied up. My cousin said that we were playing Indians and cowboys. Obviously auntie understood something fishy was going on and sat us down to have a long talk. We couldn't even explain what we were doing. All I know is that she had us throw all the toys that were on the floor in the trash so that we can't use them for wrong purposes. She talked to my parents and this started a short period of therapy because they though some adult was doing that to me. But it was just my sick kid mind. To this day, I am 23, and I am still embarrassed to go say hello to my auntie. Sophomore year of high school, I showed up with nothing in my backpack but whipped cream, weed and handcuffs 3 days in a row. If those had happened to be random locker inspection days, I don't know what I would have said. Got caught pretending to be a duck mourning my fallen brethren in the bathroom of a Chinese restaurant, famous for its Peking duck. Failed to explain. The explanation: I was a nerdy kid. We could get out of sports at my middle school by doing a school play instead. The majority of the theater kids were there to avoid sports, rather than a specific love for the theatrical arts. That said, the drama teacher was truly an awesome human being and very popular. However, he was extremely ambitious with what he thought he could accomplish. I liked him a lot, so I did my best to follow his directions, even though I had precisely zero talent. He was always very appreciative of my effort. In the 8th grade, it was decided that we would do the Conference of the Birds for our school play that term. The Conference of the Birds is not a play. It is a mystical epic poem by the Sufi poet Rumi, about a bunch of birds who go off in search of the king of birds, the Simurgh. On their journey, they gradually discard their individual identities, until they discover that, once they have discarded individuality and united, they collectively are the Simurgh. We workshopped this into a play. I did not understand this. I was not entirely sure what workshopping meant. But I was very eager and tried really hard. I was cast as the duck. I struggled to identify with my character, beyond walking awkwardly and quacking. Our drama teacher suggested an exercise. Every now and then, throughout the day, think for a moment about how the duck would respond if they were in your position. So it was that, sitting at the dinner table at the Chinese restaurant, looking at a very tasty Peking duck, 14-year-old me decided to go to the bathroom and really feel out how a duck would respond to the roasted, seasoned, and sliced up corpse of its brethren. I'd never really heard anguished quacking beforehand, but I gave it my best shot. I got a bit too into it, alarmed the other bathroom goers, and my parents were summoned by concerned staff. I did not know how to even begin to explain. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and leave a comment.